you so much for watching, specifically today on Good Friday, today with Marilyn and Sarah. And I was thinking about our time together, and I recently heard this testimony that just like took my breath away. I was in Cambodia, and one of my friends was there, and she was telling me she has a ministry to the prostitutes there to help them kind of get out of that industry. And this particular woman was pregnant, and she had a sexually transmitted disease because she's in prostitution. So kind of is a little bit natural for that industry, but she's pregnant, and she was supposed to deliver the baby by a C-section to protect the baby from the disease, but she didn't do that. She had the baby naturally, and what happened is that disease, the sexually transmitted disease, got in his eyes, and it made him blind. And when they looked medically, what was going to happen potentially to this little baby is that that disease would go, not only make him blind, but could also go into his brain, attack his brain, and cause him to be, you know, have like reduced development and all kinds of complications. And so, I mean, this is a tragedy. So my friend heard about this, went to this little baby and started praying for this baby, and prayed and rebuked the disease and really stuck with it. Over the course of time, a few months, the stuff in the baby's eyes started to clear up. All of the swelling and all kinds of pus and all the gross stuff started to disappear. And pretty soon the baby starts to respond visually. And so they took the baby back to the doctor. The doctor checked, can't find any of the disease, checked his vision, completely normal, and developmentally, the baby is actually growing and flourishing and reaching all the regular growth points in his development. I heard that story and that just took my breath away because I thought, oh my goodness, Jesus heals us no matter who we are. No matter who we are, the baby of a prostitute, all the way to the most sophisticated, highest person in society, our position, our wealth, our who we know, who we don't know, and none of that's material to Jesus. Jesus is our healer, no matter what. And so if you're watching today and you need healing, hop on the phone, get on the website. We know that Jesus is our healer, and today on Good Friday, the day we celebrate Jesus' crucifixion, we know that Jesus not only was crucified for our sins, but also for our healing. So hop on the phone, get on the website. We would love to pray for you. And Mom, I know you have a really great teaching. Good Friday, you know, it's tricky. How's it good?
Because good looks bad. But I believe there's a special revelation. And it appears to me, Sarah, with miracles, there's something you have to do in the natural that brings the supernatural. So I want to just share about a very special revelation of God's nature, His name, today in this. So I want you to see something, but I want you to experience. You know, the Word is made flesh. So the Israelites, you know, they're leaving Egypt, and it's a big, big victory. It's wonderful. And God is leading them by a pillar of cloud in the daytime, pillar of fire at night, but He leads them into the wilderness. Wow. Because we always think, oh, you know, bad things God didn't do, but God is with us in the wilderness times. But then as they go on, they are in the wilderness, they go and they hit a real nice area where there are palm trees and water. But then the next place, because we walk in different situations and circumstances, the next place they're desperate for water. This is a lot of people. I don't know how many people say 1 million, 2 million, I don't know. But they're desperate for water, and the water is bitter. So, you know, what are you going to do with all these people? And they were led by God. They've come through these bad, good, now bad, another bad place. And so what does Moses do? And I love this. I love this. He waits on God to get an answer. And remember, there is an act in the natural that goes with the supernatural manifestation. So he says, God, what shall I do? So there's something we do. We don't just sit and, I need a miracle, I need a miracle. Well, God, what do you want me to do that brings your supernatural supply? And God says to him, cut down a tree, a branch, and throw it in the water, and the water will be made sweet. Now, what if Moses had said, nope, not going to do that, that sounds too crazy. That was the act in the natural. that brought the supernatural. I see this over and over in the miracles. What about the little boy who gave 5 loaves and 2 fish and ended up feeding 5,000 men, not counting women and children? What if he had said, I'm not giving my lunch? But that act in the natural sparked the supernatural. Because what is it? It's an act of faith. That doesn't make any sense. So you throw a piece of wood in the water. What's that going to do? And he did it. And what happened is that the waters became sweet. But listen to me closely. I have found with every miracle, that act in the natural that brings it forth, brings something so important to you and to me. And that is a revelation of who God is. You know, God doesn't waste anything. He's so economical. He gets a lot of mileage out of it. It wasn't just sweet water they got, but they got a revelation of God's character. And so in every miracle, we should get a special revelation of Him. And He said, I am Jehovah Rapha, the Lord who heals you. Man, that is absolutely wonderful. So they said, yeah, we got the sweet water, but we got a revelation of God that we can walk in. So the revelation of God, how can I say this? And I don't want you to get mad at me. Put your hand on your heart. Say, I promise I won't get mad at you. You're too sweet. But when we get that revelation of God, it is a lesson for us to walk in and to use as we go forward. So He throws that branch in, they get sweet water, and He says, now I'm Jehovah Rapha. Now, that Jehovah means the revealing one, but Rapha means healing and health. So we got a lesson in this. We got a revelation of Him. But a lesson is always something to be practiced. Hey, how about that? And of course, we have something to help you practice the lesson, because we have these CDs on total healing, and we have total healing in a book, and you can call in and get these, because folks, this isn't just something to know. This is something to experience. And that's why I want you to have these, because I want you to have the experience of healing. And healing can be inside and outside. Maybe you just have a broken heart. But remember, Jesus gave His life. He is the one who was put into the bitter waters. And He died on the cross. He is the tree. And He not only took our sins, but He also took our sicknesses. And so this is very important for us. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I love that, Mom. And I think sometimes we get so focused on the bitter.
Yeah.
You know, we get so focused on the shortcoming, the deficiency, and pain. I know there are individuals watching today that have chronic pain problems, and you may have been diagnosed with an incurable disease. But I want to encourage you that you don't have to swallow the bitter water. Jesus came, died on the cross, rose from the dead to heal us, to repair us, to console us, and to give us strength and power to help us to be overcomers. So hop on the phone, get on the website. We would love to pray for you and help you connect with Jesus as your healer, as your redeemer, as your strength, as your power, as your hope as well.
And what if they didn't put the tree in? You know, wow, look at the bitterness and all of the sickness and disease and sin disease and all of that. But they were willing to do it. And I encourage you, be willing to see what Jesus got for you on the cross. I mean, when I read Isaiah 53, He took my rejection. Wow. He took my griefs and sorrows. And so we see all the things that He took for us. Did you know He took your poverty? And so we see, wow, on this tree. So I want to see how Moses learned from this. He got the revelation, but a revelation of who He is a lesson to be used and practiced. So you say, yeah, Jesus took my sins, Jesus took my sickness, but how did that affect Moses? Well, we know how it did, because he lived to 120. And it said his eye wasn't dimmed. His natural force was not abated. So he said, He is my healer and He is my health. And when I look at the meaning of Jehovah Rapha, oh my goodness, I can see that He healed me. The cross took my sins, my sicknesses, my diseases, but I have to accept Him. I have to accept that He took that and leave it with Him. And then I see also that He took my failures. Oh, He took my rejections. These griefs and sorrows I am carrying, hey, this is a cross that I continue to see the provisions of it. And so Moses lived out the lesson. That Jehovah Rapha, don't just let it affect you today, Good Friday, but the rest of your life, the provisions, and take that into the bitterness of your life, because we all have bitter things. And so, and if we look at it, we say, well, is God in my bitterness? Yes. And He made a provision that can transform your bitterness into sweetness. And you can not only just have a one-shot experience. Sarah, we can walk in this. And so I just really encourage you. You say, well, I didn't know I could be healed. There is total healing, spirit, soul, and body in the cross. And not only do we have the book, but oh my goodness, we have the CDs to go with it. When you call in, I wouldn't just get one set, I'd get two. Do you know people who are bitter and are hurting and are wounded? Oh, do they know about Jesus? Do they know the promises? Are they aware that Jesus has healing and health? Are they aware of this? Oh, you could transform someone's life. And so this is a special time of seeing Jesus, and we're going to be right back, and you stay right there and get your miracle today.
You can receive healing. In Marilyn's book, Total Healing, you will learn where sickness comes from, discover the way to healing, live in divine health, experience God's healing touch, and much more. For your gift of $25 or more, we will send you this great book, along with the accompanying Total Healing 2-CD teaching set. This set has 4 inspiring messages, giving you the tools you need to pray for total healing in your life and the lives of your loved ones. We'll also send you our Healing Scripture card, filled with comfort and inspiration from God's Word for your healing. Discover how healing ties into your overall relationship with God. This resource will help your faith increase and encourage you to reach out to those around you and allow God's healing power to flow through your life to the sick and hurting. Call or click today to receive this amazing resource and get yourself on the path to your personal healing. Join Marilyn and Sarah May 4th to the 13th as they minister on the Seeing Jesus in Argentina and Uruguay group tour. Travelers will minister with Marilyn and Sarah at Iglesia Rey de Reyes Church in Buenos Aires. Participate in humanitarian outreach. Visit Plaza de Mayo and Palacio del Congreso. Take a ferry to Uruguay for a day tour of Colonia, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and visit a gaucho ranch for the day. For more information, visit marilylandsarah.org.
I know we're talking about Moses and how God really encouraged him with throwing the stick in the water, you know, and makes the bitter water sweet, brings healing. God is our healer. I was also thinking about the stick thing as it relates to Moses as well in Numbers 21. Because in Numbers 21, there were all these snakes, and I hate snakes, totally hate snakes. There were all these snakes that were attacking the Israelites, and they were stinging them, they were biting into them and killing them. And in verse 8, God speaks to Moses and says, "Make a fiery serpent and set it on a standard, and it will come about that everyone who is bitten, when he looks at the snake on the standard, will live." And that's exactly what happened. Moses makes this bronze serpent and puts it on a stick, on a standard, lifts it up, and as people look at that, they're healed from those snake bites. And it sounds kind of weird, kind of crazy. You can read about it. It's Numbers 21. But I encourage you that as we think about that, basically what we're seeing there is a type. It's kind of a predictor, a future vision of Jesus being our healer. Jesus becoming for us sin, being made sin unto sin likeness, and hung up on a cross and raised from the dead so that we could have healing and the presence, power, resurrection of Jesus alive in our lives. And so you may be watching today, and if you have a need for healing in your life, in your body, healing in your marriage, healing in your soul with maybe some emotional issues, hop on the phone, get on the website. We would love to pray for you. And as you're on the phone and website, of course, remember to grab these great resources, a book and CDs by Mom on total healing. These are fantastic things to encourage and stir your faith. And of course, you want to get them to share with a friend. It's Resurrection Easter weekend, so grab a couple of them and celebrate the life of Jesus. Pass them out to your friends. Be generous. It's an awesome thing. And remember that Jesus is our healer. And we read about Jesus back with Moses, but all the way through the Bible, God is our healer and brings healing to us as we partner, as we connect, and as we're in the presence of God. Mom, I love that.
I do too. And Sarah, I love the fact that Moses did what God said. Take the branch, throw it in the bitter water, and the water became sweet. And so I want to encourage you that, of course, the branch is the cross of Jesus that goes into the bitter water and sweetens everything in our life if we will take Jesus into it. But I was very interested when I was studying this about the branch that they cut off, because I found another revelation of it in Jeremiah. And remember, all miracles have lessons so that we have something to live in. All miracles really come about because of an act in the natural that brings the supernatural. That's that act of faith. And so I noticed something that Jeremiah brings out. He talks about the branch and said, this is the Lord, but he called him Jehovah Tsidkenu instead of Jehovah Rapha. Now, what is Tsidkenu? That's another revelation. It means righteousness. And we need to know that in all of our junk and trash and bitterness and sin and all the yuck, that Jesus not only took it, but it's a divine exchange. He gave us his righteousness. Wow, that's another lesson, but it's something I have to practice a lot, because I think, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, what about the past? And I have to know that he's made unto me righteousness, wisdom, sanctification, and redemption. And the more I know that he's made unto me righteousness, the more I think that way, the more I act that way. And so this is a revelation, a lesson I can learn. And so sometimes I have to say, when I really like to tell somebody off or slap them sideways, hey, I am the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. And he is helping me say the right thing. And the other day I was about to say something about somebody, and the Lord said, I didn't call you here to bring something negative. I called you here to show who I am. And so don't get into negative talking. Remember who you are. You're the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. And then I was looking at Elisha. You know, Elisha and his miracles, they are just awesome. And so he's working with the School of the Prophets, kind of a Bible school, and they're building at the time. And so they're, you know, chopping down trees and so on, and they have an axe. And evidently, you know, hardly anybody had an axe. They borrowed it to chop down the trees with, and the axe head falls off. And you know, sometimes we just have accidents. And I think some people say, well, it's providence or whatever. I don't know what you want to call it. But I mean, sometimes they're just accidents, and yet it can hurt people. They'll say, oh, you took it and you lost it? Hey, come on. And so they go to Elisha, and remember that act in the natural precedes the supernatural act of God. It's that act of faith. And so God tells him, take a tree, cut off the branch, and throw it into the water. Can we take the cross of Jesus and put it into the accidental things that happen to us, or the accidents that we're involved in? And could he bring to pass a miracle? And so they do it, they did the act in the natural, and then all at once, here comes the axe head. Now, folks, that's not natural, that's supernatural. Metal falls to the bottom, and it comes bubble, 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 up it comes, and they pick it up, and of course they can return it. And I'm just thinking today, Good Friday, it's the good provision that Jesus made for us. Could we take his cross and even the accidental things that have happened and the things we have lost, could we put his cross into that and that very miracle occur, you know, that even God can take the bad things in our life and he can, with the cross of Jesus, bring goodness and miraculous things out of it. Folks, I have to go back to the past, to some of the things that happened to me. You know, I was abused as a teenager. Well, actually, I was only 11 at the time, so I was younger than a teenager. And do you know God has used that in my life? I forgave the man that was involved, but God used that to show me that he was with me all the time and that he brought me through it. I mean, it's just amazing. One time, God showed me that in that year, and I had forgotten it, I'm sure I pressed it down so I didn't have to remember it, that I wanted to take my life because I felt I was unclean. And he said, you know, I never left you. I was there in that time. Look at your life. Look at your miraculous life. And the cross, I want to say Good Friday really is Good Friday. And you say, well, I have people that need healing. They need to know the righteousness of God. They need to know you can take in the cross into accidental, ugly things we have, and God can make those axe heads swim up in our lives and even bring a miracle out of it. I want you to get this. And I have the book to go with it. Have you called in and gotten it? Have you put it off? This is Good Friday. Please do it. And as I said before, I wouldn't just get a set for yourself. You know, get a set for somebody else. You give people flowers and they wilt. You give them candy, make them fat. Give them God's Word and change their lives. And Sarah, we can look at Jesus. Isn't that right today?
Yeah, and we do look at Jesus today. We remember Jesus on the cross.
Yes.
And we see, and we frequently wear, you know, necklaces and stuff like that to remind us of Jesus on the cross. But it also encourages us that Jesus has risen from the dead. And there's no power on earth, no demon in hell, no situation, no past circumstance that Jesus does not have the power to redeem, to resurrect, to absolutely transform. So I just encourage you, hop on the phone, get on the website. Let us pray for you that Jesus would be your resurrection today. And we celebrate, of course, celebrate the death of Jesus. And we're crucified with him. Paul talks about that in Galatians. It's no longer I that lives, but Christ that lives in me. And so we live a resurrected life. But let's let that resurrection flow into our daily 24/7 life. Let's not just wallow in the past or seemingly discouraged by the present shortcomings, pain. Let's let the resurrection life of Jesus be evidenced and work its way into our lives on this day. Hop on the phone, get on the website. We would love to pray for you on this special Good Friday today.
You can receive healing. In Marilyn's book, Total Healing, you will learn where sickness comes from, discover the way to healing, live in divine health, experience God's healing touch, and much more. For your gift of $25 or more, we will send you this great book, along with the accompanying Total Healing 2-CD teaching set. This set has 4 inspiring messages, giving you the tools you need to pray for total healing in your life and the lives of your loved ones. We'll also send you our Healing Scripture card, filled with comfort and inspiration from God's Word for your healing. Discover how healing ties into your overall relationship with God. This resource will help your faith increase and encourage you to reach out to those around you and allow God's healing power to flow through your life to the sick and hurting. Call or click today to receive this amazing resource and get yourself on the path to your personal healing. and Sarah May 4th to the 13th as they minister on the Seeing Jesus in Argentina and Uruguay group tour. Travelers will minister with Marilyn and Sarah at Iglesia Rey de Reyes Church in Buenos Aires. Participate in humanitarian outreach. Visit Plaza de Mayo and Palacio del Congreso. Take a ferry to Uruguay for a day tour of Colonia, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and visit a gaucho ranch for the day. For more information, visit marilylandsarah.org.
The Bible says healing is the bread of the children. So today, I want you to eat some bread of healing. Where do you need healing in your body? Let's believe God for that, because it really is our bread. It was purchased in the atonement. So we need to claim what the Bible says we can have. So I'm going to ask you to put your hand on any area of your body that you need healing. I love to pray for the sick. So put your hand, it's on your, you say, I have 10 things. Put your hand on top of your head. We'll just believe for everything. So Father, in the name of Jesus, I send the word into this body that heals it, delivers it from every destruction. And in Jesus' name, I speak wholeness. Amen. Now, I believe you've received, but you need to act in faith. Don't look for your sickness. Look for your miracle. And stand in faith for it. This is very important. Now, this is the way I stand. I not only stand for healing, but health. Because when I look at Jehovah Rapha, it has to do with health. And Moses received the revelation of that name, and he lived to 120. His eye didn't get dim. His natural force was not abated. Why? Because he knew that there was healing and health for him, and he lived in it. So why don't you just call in right now and say, hey, I am believing for healing in my body. Name the place, don't take a long time, and say, I am believing for health. And maybe you have a loved one on your heart who needs healing or who needs health. Then give us those names, and we're going to pray. And just say, Marilyn told me to call in today for healing and health. And we're going to stand in faith and see great miracles